I'm Hugh Hewitt, back inside the Beltway, joined by United States Senator Dan Sullivan from the great state of Alaska. Good morning, Senator. Welcome back. Good to have you.
Ooh, great to be back on the program. Thanks for having me.
I listened to your exchange with Secretary Austin yesterday, or the day before, when you asked him, why are we allowing an Iranian intel ship to provide targeting data for American ships like the Carney and others, and the Eisenhower, and to the Houthis, and not doing anything about it? I didn't hear his answer. I'm just curious, do you think we will sink that ship soon? Because we should.
We absolutely should. And, you know, I've been pressing this issue for months now. And to me, it's just a classic example of the weakness of the Biden administration. I know these military officers. And, you know, I said it there. Even Secretary Austin, when he was in uniform, he hated the Iranians. And yet we don't bring any pain to the Iranian regime. The Biden administration deterrent appeasement policy with regard to Iran continues. And to me, Hugh, as I mentioned in that hearing, and I pressed him again in the classified setting, I said, this is not rocket science. The Iranian Navy is targeting our Navy. Why don't we put those Iranian spy ships at the bottom of the ocean quickly? And I guarantee you we'll start to reestablish deterrence. I think our military is ready to do it. To be honest, I think our military wants to do it, and I think they're not getting permission to do it. And let me just mention one other thing. I talked to the CNO of the Navy a couple weeks ago, Chief of Naval Operations. I said, Admiral, how worried are you? You know, the USS Carney took 30 missiles the other day, missiles and drones, 30. They had to shoot them all down. What if one of those slips through? We're going to have sailors and Marines swimming with sharks in the Red Sea, and we're not doing anything to deter this. It's nuts. I think the military wants to do it. They could do it in a minute. Heck, in 2 hours, they could sink the whole Iranian Navy. And I don't think they're given the green light by the president, who's weak.
Now, Senator, I've got a son, a son-in-law, and a nephew on active duty in the Navy. To my knowledge, none of them are in harm's way right now, but they have been on the receiving end before of Iranian missiles. One was at Al-Assad when they unleashed the barrage there. I don't know what parents of people on the Carney think, but are you hearing from them? Because the friends and family and spouses and children of the sailors on the Carney and the Eisenhower have got to be wondering exactly what you did. When are we going to stop this?
Well, you're exactly right. It's the Carney. It's the USS Eisenhower. Think about that, Hugh. It's a
5,000 people
aircraft carrier, right?
5,000 people.
There are Marines and sailors on Eisenhower from every state in our great nation. So, look, I'm hearing from the military, and again, you know, the Biden administration is cutting the military every budget, right? This is something else I pressed by Secretary Austin and the chairman of the Joint Chiefs on in the hearing 2 days ago. Every budget, Biden puts forward significant inflation-adjusted cuts. But I'm hearing from the military members that, of course, they understand what deterrence is. And with the Iranians, look, everybody from Thomas Friedman, who's no conservative, have been saying to others have been saying Iran is paying no price at all in this war in the Middle East. Think about it. You don't have the Houthis without Iran. You don't have Hamas without Iran. You don't have Hezbollah without Iran. And Biden won't touch the Iranians either with kinetic action, military action, or, Hugh, just as important, I've pressed the president directly on this, you got to reimpose sanctions on the oil and gas regime. At the end of the Trump administration, because of the massive sanctions we and the Trump administration have put on Iran, they had about $4 billion in reserves left. That's not much, as you know. 3 years later, now with Biden lifting the sanctions, essentially, Iran has about 75 to 80 billion in foreign reserves.
Yeah, and they're selling the oil to China. Senator, I sent your team yesterday via DM over at Twitter X the commentary podcast in which John Podhoretz, they're trying to figure out what is the Biden administration policy vis-a-vis Israel and Gaza. And they came to the conclusion all they care about is optics. The optics change every day, so the policy changes every day. Do you have any idea what their policy really is about Israel and Gaza?
No, because it changes by the day. And look, I'm not afraid to give Biden credit where credit's due. Initially, after the October 7th attacks, he went to Israel and showed solidarity and was talking very strong about giving Israel the time and space to crush and destroy Hamas. That was the right policy. You know, Hugh, I went over to Israel soon after the October 7th attacks with a bipartisan group of senators. That was when we were supposed to be showing solidarity with our best ally in the Middle East, one of our best allies in the whole world. But as it is with so many other Biden policies, think about energy, for example, what ends up happening is that the far left of the Democratic Party starts to dictate the policy of this White House. And that is clearly what is going on here. The fact that the president now, out of the blue, says we need a 5 to 7 week ceasefire, where the hell did that come from? I mean, look, a ceasefire to me is an opportunity to let Hamas rearm, regroup, re-equip, and we got to give Israel the time and space to destroy Hamas. That's what Biden was saying in the aftermath of October 7th. That talking point is now gone, and the reason it's gone is because he's letting the far left of his radical party drive his policy, just like he does on energy.
Senator, I got to ask you about Sinwar, because you're a Marine and you were on the NSC before you joined the Senate. And so Sinwar is watching all this, and I assume that they have some means of getting intel into the tunnels that are left in Rafah. What do you think he thinks is happening? Does he think he's winning?
I think when he hears the President of the United States talking about a months-long ceasefire, he's winning. And here's the other thing you don't read a lot about because the press doesn't want to report on it. The Israelis are doing a very good job in terms of clearing these tunnels. And as you know, Hugh, that is extremely, extremely dangerous military missions, what we call military operations in urban terrain, MOUT. It's the most dangerous military operations you can undertake because you get shot from any angle, a roof, a tunnel on the street, and they are making significant progress. By the way, they're down in the tunnels, right? That's dangerous stuff. And so, again, when that is happening, I think Sinwar a couple months ago probably knew his days were limited, and now I think these guys think they're winning. And if the United States is the one who backs away from Israel, you know, I don't want to say it, but they could be winning. We can't abandon Israel in its time of need. That's the one final thing I'll mention. When I was over there, the one issue that everybody forgets, and when I was over there after October 7th, Israel is in the existential moment of its entire existence. Think about the threats it faces. That country feels like it could be obliterated, and we need to empathize with them first. Of course, you know, I empathize with innocent civilian deaths in Gaza, but it makes it really difficult when Hamas continues to use civilians as shields. They love when the numbers are getting run up on civilian deaths. That's what keeps them in power. But, yes, I think Sinwar is probably thinking, geez, I might be able to win this.
And that is a tragedy. Senator Sullivan, keep pushing these witnesses. Excellent job yesterday, the day before, and I appreciate it, and I appreciate your joining me. Keep coming back. Senator Dan Sullivan from Alaska, always good to have him here.
Let me go to an area that you understand very well, both of you, and that's deterrence with regard to Iran. Tom Friedman, the New York Times columnist, recently observed that fighting through Tehran's proxies, Hamas in Gaza, the Houthis in Yemen, Hezbollah in Lebanon, Syria, Shia militias in Iraq, Iran is reaping all the benefits and paying virtually no cost of the work of its proxies.
I'm Hugh Hewitt. That's Dan Sullivan. Coming up next hour, he asked Secretary Austin yesterday, if Iran continues to give targeting information to the Houthis, will we sink the ship that is doing that?